This year, China's annual trade surplus surpassed $1 trillion, a milestone that marks a profound shift in global trade. For context, that surplus alone is larger than the entire economy of countries like the Netherlands or Switzerland. Every day, China adds nearly $3 billion to its surplus, reshaping the global flow of goods and money. This isn't just a number, it's a sign of China's immense industrial power and a unique economic model that continues to challenge global expectations. While many Western economies have shifted towards services, China has doubled down on manufacturing, dominating electronics, textiles, machinery, and high-tech goods. The scale and persistence of this surplus defy traditional economic theories, which suggest such imbalances should self-correct. Yet China's surplus keeps growing, forcing the world to reconsider how global trade really works. This didn't happen overnight. It's the result of decades of strategic planning, relentless industrial development, and a focus on exports. China's manufacturing dominance has allowed it to capture an ever larger share of global exports, and the trillion-dollar mark signals that this trend is accelerating. The consequences ripple worldwide, affecting currency values, jobs, and the balance of the global financial system. Why hasn't the surplus corrected itself? The answer lies in China's unique policies and economic structure. Instead of a rising currency and shrinking surplus, China's model has kept exports strong and imports relatively weak. This new era of global trade is defined by China's ability to consistently sell far more than it buys. The world must now grapple with the implications of this unprecedented economic force. Calculating a trade surplus seems simple: exports minus imports. But with China, the story is more complicated. Officially, China's surplus is $1 trillion. But discrepancies in global trade data suggest the real number could be even higher. The world often reports importing more from China than China claims to export, sometimes by hundreds of billions of dollars. This gap is partly due to goods passing through intermediary hubs like Hong Kong and complex accounting by multinational firms. These statistical quirks may mean China's true surplus is underestimated by up to $200 billion. If so, the global trade imbalance is even more extreme than we think. This matters. Underestimating the surplus could lead other countries to misjudge the scale of the challenge. China's economy may be even more reliant on external demand than official numbers show. Understanding the real size of the surplus is critical for shaping effective economic policy. The world needs accurate data to respond to China's growing dominance in global trade. Why does China export so much? It's the world's factory, with an industrial ecosystem unmatched in scale and efficiency. Entire cities specialize in specific goods, creating powerful supply chains and reducing costs. Productivity gains, automation, and modern infrastructure have made Chinese factories fast, flexible, and cost-effective. The government amplifies these advantages with export incentives, a stable currency, and massive investments in logistics. China's high-speed rail, ports, and airports ensure goods move quickly from factory to ship. This state-led support, combined with manufacturing prowess, lets China respond rapidly to global demand, whether for electronics, PPE, or green tech. The result: an export machine that keeps growing, year after year. Why does China import less than it exports? The answer lies in weak domestic consumption and a focus on production. Chinese households save more and spend less than those in the West, so domestic demand can't absorb all that's produced. High savings and low consumption mean China must export its surplus goods. Meanwhile, China's push for self-sufficiency, especially in high-tech components, reduces its need for imports. Import substitution policies and investment in domestic industries have shrunk the import bill. The result: a structural imbalance where production outpaces consumption, keeping the trade surplus high. This dynamic shows no sign of changing soon. China's rise as a manufacturing superpower accelerated after joining the World Trade Organization in 2001. Gaining access to global markets, China became the world's workshop, attracting foreign investment and technology. Initially focused on low-value goods, China used this phase to build skills, infrastructure, and a vast pool of engineers. The government encouraged technology transfer and invested in upgrading industries. Over time, China moved up the value chain, now leading in electric vehicles, solar panels, and advanced electronics. State-led industrial policy, subsidies, and research funding propelled companies like Huawei and BYD to global leadership. Today, China is a true competitor in high-tech sectors, not just a producer of cheap goods. This transformation took decades, but it's redefined global manufacturing. China's ability to mobilize resources behind strategic goals is unmatched. The result, industrial dominance that challenges the world's economic order. In 2018, the US launched a trade war against China, imposing tariffs to curb Chinese exports. The expectation tariffs would shrink China's surplus and boost American manufacturing. The reality: China's global trade surplus grew even larger. While direct exports to the US dipped, China's exports to the rest of the world surged. Chinese goods remained competitive due to scale, supply chain depth, and adaptability. Exporters absorbed some tariff costs, and currency shifts offset others. Global supply chains proved resilient, trade flows simply shifted, not stopped. Exports rerouted to new markets, especially in Southeast Asia and Latin America. The trade war showed that tariffs alone can't fix deep-rooted imbalances. China's core advantages, industrial scale and state support, remained intact. The world learned trade barriers are no match for a truly global supply chain. When tariffs block direct routes, trade finds a way. Chinese goods increasingly travel through third countries like Mexico and Vietnam, where minor assembly lets them bypass US tariffs. This practice, known as transshipment, has caused China's exports to these countries, and their exports to the US, to soar. Chinese companies set up final assembly plants abroad, keeping access to American consumers. For countries like Mexico and Vietnam, this brings jobs but deepens dependence on China-centric supply chains. The US trade deficit shifts, not shrinks, now spread across more countries. The global imbalance persists, just redistributed. Complex supply chains adapt quickly, making country-specific tariffs less effective. The lesson: in a globalized world, trade reroutes faster than policy can keep up. Will China's massive trade surplus last? The structural forces behind it, huge production capacity and weak domestic demand, aren't changing fast. China's push into high-value exports like electric vehicles and solar panels will likely fuel the surplus for years. As global demand for green tech grows, China is poised to dominate, thanks to scale and state support. This could make the surplus even larger, with profound implications for global competition and wealth distribution. Other countries will face ongoing pressure on their industries and jobs. China's surplus means a steady transfer of wealth, expanding its global influence. The world must adapt to a new reality. One country consistently sells far more than it buys. Tariffs and trade barriers have proven ineffective. The imbalance persists. China's trillion-dollar surplus is now the defining feature of global trade. The challenge ahead: rethinking how international trade is managed in this new era.